Hey everybody, it's Race Sundays. Today we are in the Netherlands, home of Max Verstappen. This is our fantasy team. Didn't do too bad at all. Look at that. Pretty freaking awesome. We'll go through the race results. All right, so
Wow, rain, more rain, a little bit of sunshine, and then more rain.
it was. Honestly, I think when we came into this, we actually thought it was gonna be a meh race because there was supposed to be a lack of overtaking, and it was just supposed to be a meh race. And by the way, welcome back from summer.
Yeah, that's right, back from summer break.
Yeah, there was no real silliness unlike last year, but yeah. So it was actually I'm gonna go out and say it was probably one of the better races this year.
I think it was one of the better races. I think, even before we got to the race, the first drama, and I won't say it was really silly season with summer break, but there was definitely some driver shuffles because poor Ricardo, if you didn't see the news, crashed in practice.
Yeah, he was trying to avoid Oscar Piastri, who actually crashed into the wall just ahead of him. He slipped out.
Apparently, the Australians decided to park on the curve.
Yeah, exactly. But it's Oscar Piastri thanked them for not crashing into his car, and
Ricardo broke his a bone in his hand, I believe, and so he's out for a few races at least. And
I think they're looking for him to come back roughly around Singapore.
I think he's trying to come back faster. He went to see the doctors in Barcelona that Stroll saw at the beginning of the year for his wrists, I heard. So we'll see how fast Ricardo's back. He's already had surgery, but so Liam Lawson got in the seat. So.
It was interesting. It was an interesting time to see him how he would actually do, and what a first race for him. I mean, it was such a crazy race.
Qualifying too, crazy started before qualifying. So first you have Danny Rick, then you have qualifying. Qualifying had some wet weather, and practice as well. So it was a little bit hit and miss. So you had some big names drop out before the top 10.
And some surprises in the top 10.
Oh, yes. So for those of you who missed it, I think the big headline news on the top 10 is that both Albon, who's been there before, and
Logan Sargent.
Logie Bear is apparently people have taken to call him because it sounds like Yogi Bear.
Yeah, both of them. Both Williams finished in the top 10.
And for a moment it looked like Albon had actually stuck it on the front row. In the final flurry of qualifying, it was only Norris and Russell, Norris, and Verstappen kind of just pushed it at the last second. But there was a split second there where it looked like he was on the front row with Verstappen.
Yeah, 100%. It was absolutely fantastic, and I mean,
Then we get to the race.
You get to the race,
and so as the race is starting, first thing we hear, they're doing the formation lap, and everyone's telling them rain's coming. So they're all on, I think most of them had softs on. I think one or two had mediums. And then they hear rain's coming. And literally as the race is starting, the rain starts.
Yeah, and it was an interesting, there were so many tire changes in this race. It was...
Well, yeah, so every compound was used. So soft, medium, hard, and intermediates and wets were used in this race. So right away the shuffle happened. So first lap, come around to the pit, half the field goes in, half stays out.
I think Verstappen that stayed out, and
Verstappen stayed out.
Checo actually
Alonso,
was one of the first ones that came in.
Checo came in, so I would say it was kind of like the back half came in and the rest stayed out. For some reason, both McLaren stayed out, which was weird, which sort of didn't help them as much as where they probably could have been. And there was some real there was a point where Perez was leading the race after he put on intermediates. Guan Yu Zhou was in second.
and to get that straight, Perez was actually leading the race by 14 seconds
over anybody else.
Over anybody else.
Yeah, it was crazy because he put intermediates on. So then some of them like Albon, the McLarens, Verstappen didn't actually put intermediates on. They stayed out.
They lost almost a minute.
Yeah, they basically fought. Verstappen eventually came in, did put intermediates on, and then he started to close the gap on Checo. Eventually caught him, took over, and then everybody started switching tires because it stopped raining. And so then we thought, well, maybe this will be a boring race. So So we had everyone running around on softs and mediums and hards, depending on what their strategy was. You had like Russell was at the back of the pack for a while.
Oh, what about Ferrari?
Oh God, Ferrari!
Like, if you're a Leclerc fan, I feel so bad for you, Ella.
So Leclerc comes in during the rain. He made the decision to come in. Right call. Somehow Ferrari was not expecting him to come in. They didn't call him in. He made that call. But I mean, it's raining and half the field's coming in. You should have intermediates ready. They didn't have intermediates ready.
So you lost a lot of time there.
They literally were running to the garage to look for the tires. So anyways, it was bad. But yeah, and then the race kind of settled down. It seemed like it was going to be, sunny and quiet.
And get this, right? The track dries up really fast.
Really fast.
Like extreme. I mean, and this is one of the tracks where there's just so many banks and like it's just insane.
It's one of the only tracks that's actually banked, I believe, and it's because it's built on sand dunes by the ocean. So I mean, it's just it's a really neat track. And they said no overtaking, but apparently Alonso said hold my beer.
Yeah.
Because he was just like the king of overtaking. So actually, in this week's fantasy pool, the best person to have your multiplier on was Alonso because he actually had more points than Verstappen because of all the overtakes.
Yeah, like I mean, Verstappen only had 46 points and Alonso had 62 points. So and that's also because he had the fastest lap as well.
He also got fastest lap. He was all over. But anyways, yeah, and so then it seemed like it settled down. We had a few like minor stuff going on, and then we started hearing rain's coming, and then
Piastri got screwed again.
Yeah, I mean, there was some more tire stuff, but in the end, I think I don't really remember Piastri getting screwed the second time.
No, he got screwed the second time because he came in for his tire change, and then the red flag happened.
That was not Piastri.
It was Piastri.
That was Perez.
No, it was Piastri. Piastri had that happen first. Like basically he had or I made a mistake. It was a yellow flag that happened.
Yeah.
Right after Piastri,
you're right. That's why I don't remember it because it was not race determining.
It was fake news.
Fake news. It was Perez. So anyways, there were some accidents. So we had poor Logan Sargent where it was relatively dry actually. He had a hydraulic failure and crashed. So that was in the dry conditions. That's the first yellow flag. And then we had Guan Yu Zhou went off and crashed, and we had Leclerc's car fail. I think Zhou's was the red flag. I think Zhou's crash was actually the red flag. So what happens? Perez came in, rain was coming, people are crashing. Perez comes in to change tires. Right call. I guess he was sitting. I think P2. Yeah. Hydroplaned into the pit. Into the entryway. Didn't brake in time, so he was 0.5 or 0.8 kilometers over the speed limit, but he got a 5-second penalty, which is, I'm sorry, you're hydroplaning in, you're lucky to stop. That's just silly. Damaged his car too when he was coming because he tried to brake so hard and he was sliding sideways. And then red flag. Yep. But they did reset it, so that's okay. So he didn't really lose position because they reset it, so he was sitting in second. But he had a 5-second penalty, and then he got passed by Alonso, so he ended up third, and then Gasly was behind him, and then that ended up putting him...
Who actually won? Well, everyone knows it was Verstappen. Duh. And, obviously you can see by here who actually came in second. It was Alonso and Gasly.
Yeah, Gasly
finally had a podium.
Fourth podium in a regular race. Second this year because he did get the sprint earlier in the season. But yeah, anyways, it was chaos. The last 10 laps, it was really hard to know where. And I think the big news here is, first of all, Lawson finished 13th. So great, premier race for him. That's actually really, really respectful. He actually finished higher than Tsunoda.
Yeah, but Tsunoda actually had some.
He had some issues.
He had penalty. He had a penalty because at the end of the race, Tsunoda actually finished ahead of him. And they actually dropped, when you actually saw the race finishes.
I didn't think he had a penalty.
They assigned all the penalties. They assigned all the penalties. It was a 10-second penalty.
No, I don't know. I thought he had that one. Well, whatever. The point is, Lawson had a good race. But yeah, and then we had both Alpines in the top 10, so that's a while. Both McLarens ended up there, luckily. For our fantasy pool. Both Red Bulls, and we had Hamilton and Russell should have been there, but unfortunately Russell ended up with a tire puncture and he went out at the very end, so Leclerc and Russell didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. Russell didn't think he was actually gonna Russell. Then all of a sudden he just came back. He actually looked like he was doing a lot better.
Oh, Russell was in every position you could. Last he was first. He was never first, but he was second at one point. So.
Oh, and then I think Leclerc was actually fighting. Was it Liam Lawson that he was fighting, or?
I thought it was Piastri. He got the puncture. I don't know. Anyways, Leclerc tangled with someone, got damage. I thought it was Piastri.
Leclerc did tangle with Piastri, and he got damaged.
And then he limped around for a while, and they finally retired the car because it was just sad.
It was just like just put him out of his misery already. We'll do the tops first, and we got something different. We got a lights out.
But yeah, so I mean, it's nice to be back. There's I don't know. The biggest noise of the seats is there's still.
Oh, I thought the F2 races were actually really interesting.
Oh yeah, they were crashing left, right, and center.
Left, right, and center in the wets, and you had like
nice.
I mean, Porsche got eliminated. He eliminated himself during the
Albon's a mega driver. Can I just say that while we look at
the tire whisper.
42
laps
on softs.
On softs.
Like insane.
Like it was incredible.
He's driving so well in that Williams. Like he's replaced George Russell for just doing things with a Williams that you're not supposed to be able to do.
Oh yeah.
Hamilton. He had an okay race actually. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't worse. But Alonso's now ahead of him again. They were pretty tied in the.
There's a Hamilton.
The race. Alonso was happy to be back in the podium.
It's a Hamilton pack.
Oh nice.
Looks like that's a really nice card.
I like that with his glasses.
Hey, it's Capito. He's no longer with the F1.
I know, but he has the best quote ever on Drive to Survive.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And Lando.
Nice. Papaya.
Lando's
doing good. I wore my papaya hat yesterday during the race. That, I think, didn't help as much as I wanted it to. I wanted to see Norris finish up in the points. Well, he did, but I wanted to see him finish higher in the points. But still, I'm not going to complain with 371 in the fantasy.
I keep making jokes that, I mean, for Leclerc, that basically his downfall was hanging out with Maddie.
Oh, on P1.
On P1. Basically, that's where it all started going downhill for Leclerc. I mean, so as I was saying, like Theo
Sargent, nice.
Logan Sargent, yeah, Theo Pourchaire basically crashed out, and he sort of ruined sort of his chances in the feature race. But then what happened to Vesti?
All the leaders crashed.
Well, Vesti didn't really crash. Vesti's team thought they put his back wheels on properly, and all of a sudden he's driving. It was Vesti. It was Vesti, and Vesti's back tire just goes flying in front of him, and the cars behind him had to like jam on their brakes.
Schumacher, nice.
And Charles Leclerc.
Yeah. And
we got a George Russell. That's neat. It's a purple. So it's numbered out of 199, 57. Nice. That's pretty cool. That is a nice checkered flag refractor. Cool. All right. So we got this regular chrome, and then we'll save the lights out for last. Got a few of these. I got this one box just to try out this because I thought there was a really neat product. Some really gorgeous cards based on what I've seen. It's like a Roy Nissany pack. You got Roy Nissany in the other one too.
He did not crash, I believe, in the feature.
He was behind Vesti when he's like, oi. And Valtteri Bottas.
He did not crash, where Joe did.
Dan ticked him, I think. Yeah, Dan ticked him.
I think he's driving in the U.S. now.
I think he's in the IndyCar.
Yeah, I think he's in IndyCar.
He's IndyCar, yeah, definitely. And let's check out the lights out. But yeah, I mean, let us know what you think about this race. Like, did you enjoy watching this? It was, like, I didn't, like I said.
I thought it was a banger.
I thought it was a banger. I did not expect it at all.
They'd be like, and rain's coming. And no, wait, sun's coming. And no, rain's coming again. And when they mean rain, they mean, like, the heavens opened and it was a deluge. They actually, when they red flagged it, they waited quite a while, and then it was a question of whether they're even going to finish the race in the 3-hour time limit.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They did.
They stopped at lap 62. And they went out for 2 more laps. Hey, look.
No, it's 10. It's 72.
Sorry, 72. You're right. You're correct. That's a nice looking card.
It is nice. Too bad it's the Alpine outfit, not the Aston Martin.
Not the real. Ooh, very nice.
That's really nice.
It's a very nice. It looks like his profile photo on. These are beautiful cards. Absolutely gorgeous. Max Verstappen and George Russell.
He's like plotting.
He's got his Mr. Burns plot going on there.
It'd be funnier if it was Ricardo because he keeps trying to.
Oh, Felipe Drugovich too.
Nice.
That's a beautiful card.
He should be driving F1. Liam Lawson gets to drive. He should drive.
Yeah, and then Lando Norris. I mean, take a look at the back of these cards. Absolutely gorgeous cards. MP Drugovich. Cool.
Those are the kind of cards you put up if you ever had like any autograph gear or pictures with them. You put that beside
Oh yeah,
it.
if you actually meet the drivers, like absolutely. So we got these boxes come with 5 packs, and it's supposed to be number cards. So let's see which packs we get that have these number cards. So we're gonna be in Monza,
the Temple of Speed
next weekend. So let us know what you think. Are you excited for Monza? How was the silly season for y'all? Let us know. Have a great week, folks.